In this video, I will explain how to factor a trinomial when the leading coefficient is not 1. So I have a couple examples for us to work through here. Let's take a look at the first one. We have 5x squared plus 7x minus 6. So notice that the leading coefficient right here is a 5, so it's not equal to 1. So the trick that we can use to factor this polynomial is we can multiply 5 by the last term, negative 6. So that's negative 30. And what we can do is we can say what factors of negative 30 will add to this middle term, 7. So let's go ahead and list out the factors of 30 to figure this out. We could say plus or minus 1 along with plus or minus 30. So remember, numbers that can multiply together to equal 30. Plus or minus 2, plus or minus 15, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 10, let's see, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 6. So any of these numbers could multiply to 30. So we're looking which pair of numbers that multiply to negative 30 can also add to 7. Well, it looks like 3 and 10 would probably get the job done. So if we used a positive 10 and a negative 3, that multiplies to negative 30, and it also adds to positive 7. So what we can do is we can rewrite this polynomial as 5x squared, and we can say plus 10x, and then we can write minus 3x minus 6. So what we did is we rewrote this 7x as a 10 and negative 3. Now, what we can do is we can go ahead and pull out the greatest common factor between each of these groups of parentheses. So the greatest common factor in 5x squared plus 10x would be 5x. That would leave us with x plus 2. And then in this parentheses, the greatest common factor that we can pull out looks like it's a negative 3. So we would be left with x, and this would be a plus 2. So if we do this correctly, these two parentheses will be the exact same, and we can see that they are. So now we can rewrite the final answer as the numbers outside of the parentheses, so 5x minus 3, and then the numbers inside the parentheses, which are x plus 2. So we have now factored this polynomial, and what we'll find is if we would use something like the FOIL method to multiply these two polynomials together, we would end up with 5x squared plus 7x minus 6. So let's take a look at this next example. We have 4x squared plus 37x plus 9. So once again, the leading coefficient is not equal to 1. So the way that we can factor this polynomial is we can multiply this 4 by the last term of 9. So that's 36. And then we can think what factors of 36 will add to 37. So let's go ahead and list out the factors of 36. We've got 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and then 6 and 6. So looking at these pairs, which pair will multiply to 36 and add to 37? Well, that would be 1 and 36. So we can go ahead and rewrite this polynomial as 4x squared plus 36x. And then we've got 1x, or just x, plus 9. So again, we just rewrote this middle term right here. Instead of 37x, we have a 36x and a 1x. So now, once again, we will just look for what greatest common factor can we pull out of both sets of parentheses. So in this first one, we could pull out a 4x. That would leave us with x plus, this would just be a 9. And now x plus 9, the only factor that they have in common is a 1. So we would just say a plus 1. Plus 1. And that just leaves us with x plus 9. So once again, if we did it correctly, these two numbers in the parentheses, these two polynomials should be the same, and they are, x plus 9 and x plus 9. So we can rewrite the final answer as 4x plus 1 times x plus 9. and we have successfully factored this polynomial. And again, if we were to use something like the FOIL method to multiply all of these numbers out, we would be left with 4x squared plus 37x plus 9. Thanks for watching.